When did your commander's brilliant idea become your squad's living hell? Our new battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Brendan Holloway, arrived in January. Guy had just finished some leadership course at Fort Leavenworth. Came back full of ideas about peak performance and mental toughness. First week, he gathered all the company commanders, told them he'd been reading about elite unit training methods, specifically cold water immersion therapy, how Navy SEALs and Special Forces use it to build mental resilience. Holloway decided our entire battalion needed this training, starting immediately, in the middle of a Kansas winter. We're regular infantry, not SEALs, not special operations, just normal soldiers doing normal training. But Holloway was convinced this would transform us into an elite fighting force. He had engineers build these massive cold plunge pools behind each company barracks, industrial livestock troughs filled with ice water. Thermometers showed temperatures between 35 and 40 degrees. The order came down. Every soldier would do mandatory cold water immersion every morning before PT. 5 minutes minimum, no exceptions. My squad leader, Staff Sergeant Curtis Ramsey, read us the memo with this look of disbelief on his face. "This has to be a joke," said Specialist Preston Vaughn. "There's no way they're serious." They were serious. Dead serious. First morning, we lined up at 5 in the morning. 20 degrees outside, wind chill making it feel like 10. And we're supposed to get into ice water wearing just our PT shorts. Holloway stood there with a stopwatch, full uniform, winter coat, gloves, watching us freeze. "Mental toughness, gentlemen. This is what separates good soldiers from great soldiers." Private Nolan Garrett went first. Kid was from Florida, had never seen snow before joining the Army. He stepped into that water and let out a scream that probably woke up 3 neighboring states. 5 minutes felt like 5 hours. Your body goes numb. You can't breathe right, teeth chattering so hard you think they'll crack. We climbed out shaking uncontrollably. Couldn't feel our feet. Had to help each other walk to the barracks because nobody's legs were working properly. But it got worse. Much worse. By day 3, guys were getting sick. Not just sniffles, full-blown respiratory infections. Our company went from 100% strength to 70% in 1 week. The medics were overwhelmed. Private Sterling Wade ended up with pneumonia. Specialist Griffin Conway got frostbite on his toes. Had to be hospitalized. Holloway's response? Push through the discomfort. That's the point of the exercise. Week 2, things got dangerous. Corporal Dalton Pierce passed out climbing out of the pool. Hit his head on the concrete edge. Concussion. 3 staples in his scalp. Another soldier, Specialist Everett Quinn, had an asthma attack triggered by the cold shock. Nearly died before medics got him breathing again. The battalion surgeon finally stepped in, sent a formal complaint to brigade headquarters, said Holloway was creating a medical crisis through unsafe training practices. But Holloway doubled down, called a formation, told us we were weak, said real warriors don't complain about a little cold water. Navy SEALs do this every day. Are you telling me infantrymen can't handle what SEALs handle? That's when Sergeant Ramsey spoke up. Something nobody expected. "Sir, with respect, SEALs do cold water training in California, in the ocean, which is 55 to 60 degrees. We're doing it in Kansas, in January, in 35-degree water. That's not the same thing." The formation went silent. "You don't contradict a battalion commander in front of everyone." Holloway's face turned red. "Are you questioning my judgment, Sergeant?" "No, sir. I'm questioning the safety of this training. We've had 15 soldiers hospitalized in 2 weeks. That's not building mental toughness. That's just hurting people." Ramsey pulled out his phone, showed Holloway the actual Navy SEAL training protocols he'd researched, the gradual acclimation, the medical supervision, the temperature limits, the safety procedures, none of which Holloway had implemented. 2 days later, brigade commander showed up unannounced, walked straight to the cold plunge pools, watched the morning session, saw soldiers barely able to stand afterward. He pulled Holloway aside. Conversation lasted 10 minutes. Holloway's face went from red to white to red again. The cold water program ended that afternoon. Holloway issued a memo calling it a successful pilot program that had achieved its training objectives. But everyone knew he'd been shut down hard. The real kicker came 3 weeks later. Holloway got reassigned to a staff position at division headquarters. Desk job, no troop command. Brigade commander promoted Sergeant Ramsey to the battalion operations office. Wanted someone who wasn't afraid to speak up when leadership made dangerous decisions. The cold plunge pools sat empty for a month before they finally got removed. Some private spray painted Holloway's brilliant idea on the side of one. Nobody ever got in trouble for it. That's how our commander's brilliant idea to turn us into elite warriors became our squad's living hell. And how speaking truth to power sometimes actually works.